Hello out to all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear and listening into another video from me. And this time I'm going to follow up a follow-up. If you saw my ukulele and my technical issues videos, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you go ahead and check those out. Either way, I'm just going to drop this because I've noticed another similarity between the Switch and the Wii U. Firstly, I'm going to point out something I don't think many people remember or even think about anymore. When Nintendo developed the Wii U, they developed it in a way that made it very similar in architecture to the Xbox 360. And if people remember or not, around the time the Wii U launched, the Xbox 360 was actually still a more popular platform than the PS3. At least up until right before the Wii U launched. The 360 was still the more popular platform between the two. And from what I remember, companies said, hey, it's easy to port games from the 360 to the Wii U, and it doesn't cost us a whole lot of money. Now, granted, $1 million for us as individuals be a whole lot of money. For one of these companies in the gaming industry, that's like a drop in a bucket to them. At least to port a game, that's like a drop in a bucket to them. It doesn't cost them a whole lot, and it doesn't require them a whole lot of money to do it. Hell, it didn't even require them to have very big teams in order to do it. If we're going based upon what the teams that did the Assassin's Creed games on the Wii U, they were small teams in comparison to the rather large teams that actually developed the games. The port teams were tiny, apparently. So, if you could do all that, and they made it super easy to do, and it wouldn't have cost them a whole lot. They could have easily made money back doing 360 ports of games to the Wii U, because of how similar the architecture was. And yes, there would need to be some optimization done to account for the different things that the Wii U itself could do. But outside of that, it was basically you take it from one platform, drop it on the next. Now, where the Xbox One and the PS4 were involved, yes, porting from those to the Wii U was easily seen to be a task. And I can understand why people wouldn't want to port from either of those to the Wii U. But a lot of those games that ended up on the PS4 and the Xbox One also came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. And the PS3 is actually still getting some of the same games as the PS4 that aren't going over to Xbox. But that's beside my point. Now, here's a kicker when you think about this. There were tons of games that came out on the Xbox 360 that never made it to the Wii U. Like Shadows of Mordor, both Tomb Raider games. What was it? Was it The Crew that they said the Xbox 360 was closest to next gen hardware, or it was just a slap in the face? There are several others. Hell, the Wii U could have had Skyrim already. So I just look at Transformers Devastation, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. I think that was it. That was the one that Platinum developed, if I remember right. But there were just a bunch of games that came out on those two platforms by AAA third-party companies that didn't show up on the Wii U. Like the WWE games. Noticing a theme here. Like stuff that they could have done, and it wouldn't have cost them a whole lot of money. They didn't attempt. At all. At all. And this is after, and people use Crysis 3 as like this benchmark for PC gaming. But this was after Crytek said that they had that game running on the Wii U, and it was running beautifully before EA canned it. So you're probably wondering why I brought that up. Well, like the Wii U, the Switch, before it launched, had a lot of positive third-party support. Had a lot of positive reception among third parties. And shortly after all that positive support, we hear worries about games not running well on the Wii U. And recently, Bethesda, who exclaimed their joy at the Nintendo Switch and talked about how much they loved it, there's someone who came up from their company to talk about worrying about a couple of their games not running on it. There's one specifically they talked about, but I can't remember what game it is right this moment. So that worries me a bit. That's the first thing that they come out and say. And you gotta think, they haven't spent tons and tons of time working with this, because they all saw it at E3. We didn't see it at E3, but they saw it at E3. But still, that's not a whole lot of time to be working with the machine. So understandably, if they're trying to rush something together and it's not working, I get that. I truly do. But here's the kicker. We've heard now that it's going to be easy to port games from the PS4 to the Nintendo Switch. So, what's the most popular home console platform on the market right now? PS4, right? Now, granted, the Nintendo Switch isn't going to use the same architecture as the PS4, because obviously it's not using an x86 architecture for its basis. It's using an ARM architecture. But they had to have worked out something with NVIDIA for NVIDIA to develop an API that would allow for easy translation of these games from the PS4 platform over to the Nintendo Switch as a platform. They had to have thought about that ahead of time, which kind of makes me think they thought it out ahead of time with the Wii U as well. But it didn't take with the Wii U because the Wii U didn't take off and wasn't popular. That's why they went with the similar architecture as the Xbox 360. This time around, they didn't necessarily have to go with a similar architecture to get the desired effect that they wanted. But I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, so if developers pull the same shit that they did with the Wii U, third-party developers pull the same shit, who's going to be to blame? Are we going to blame Nintendo again? Are we going to blame Nintendo every time? Or are we going to look at the facts that they have presented us with, the things that people have put in front of us, and start questioning these third-party developers? Are we? Are we going to try that? Are we, as the gaming community, going to start asking the industry these questions as to why they can't do certain things? Like, literally, I think the only thing that anybody has, I guess, confirmed about the Switch is its clock speed. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's higher or lower than the Wii U. I really don't care, because when I look at the 7th generation in comparison to the current gen, 7th generation hardware ran at higher clock speeds than 8th generation hardware. But 8th generation hardware can do more. So clock speed literally means nothing to me at all. Even if there are machines out on the market that are similar to to what the Switch is, clock speed still means nothing, because we don't know exactly what this customized hardware in the Switch can do. It's NVIDIA hardware, but it's customized NVIDIA hardware, and it's customized for a reason. So that's basically what I wanted to put out there. Like, just the thought I wanted to put out there to see. Like, are we going to get mad at Nintendo as a community? Are we going to get mad at Nintendo? Or are we going to start calling BS on these third-party developers that have the tools, that have the ease of use, that everything is there for them to make their jobs easier, which actually makes them a little bit more lazy, but everything is there to make their jobs easier, and they don't do it. If that happens, are we going to get mad at Nintendo, or are we going to get mad at the companies? I just want to know, because every time I see this shit happen, and I'm looking, and I've seen like these companies go on record say, "Oh, this is easy to do. Like, this is great. Nintendo's done a great thing," and then they don't use it. But everybody gets mad at Nintendo for that, but not the companies that talked up all the shit that they were going to do with it and then abandon it. I mean, that's just let you guys remember, just reminding you of the history. Because if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's all. No more from me. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out.